July 15, 1945, San Francisco Bay, Hunters Point Naval Shipyard. The morning fog hangs low over the water, thick and gray, like a shroud covering the future. Through the mist, the steel silhouette of the USS Indianapolis emerges. She is a floating fortress, a Portland-class heavy cruiser, 600 feet of American firepower. But today, she is not a warship. She is a delivery truck for the apocalypse. On the dock, the atmosphere is tense, nervous. Armed Marines with Thompson submachine guns line the gangplank. They are not looking at the enemy, they are watching the crew. Nobody is allowed to approach the loading area. A crane slowly lowers a large wooden crate onto the deck. It looks ordinary, about 15 feet long. But inside that crate sits a lead bucket. And inside that bucket is the uranium projectile for Little Boy, the atomic bomb that will soon incinerate the city of Hiroshima. Captain Charles McVay stands on the bridge. He is 46 years old, a second-generation Navy man, disciplined, respected. He does not know what is in the crate. His orders are terrifyingly simple. You will sail to Tinian Island at top speed. You will not stop. If the ship sinks, you will save the cargo before you save your own men. Think about that. A captain ordered to let his crew drown to save a wooden box. The voyage is a blur. The Indianapolis breaks speed records crossing the Pacific. The engines roar day and night. The crew of 1,195 men lives in a state of high anxiety. They know something big is happening, but they don't know what. July 26th, Tinian Island. The crate is offloaded. The mission is a success. The bomb is delivered. The tension on the ship instantly evaporates. The crew breathes easy. They have done their job. The war is almost over. Rumors spread that they are heading home. But first, a routine stop in the Philippines for gunnery practice. A milk run. No escorts needed. No sonar needed. Just a casual sail across the Philippine Sea. July 29th, 1945. 11 p.m. The Devil's Triangle. The night is suffocatingly hot. The tropical heat radiates off the steel deck plates. To escape the ovens below decks, hundreds of sailors drag their mattresses topside. They sleep under the stars, wearing only shorts. They talk about their girlfriends back in Ohio, the cars they want to buy, the lives they plan to live. Captain McVay retires to his cabin. The visibility is poor heavy clouds block the moon. Naval intelligence has assured him the water is clear of enemy subs. He orders the ship to stop zigzagging, a defensive maneuver that is useless in pitch darkness. He goes to sleep, believing his men are safe. He is wrong. 300 feet below them, silent as a grave, lurks the I-58, a Japanese B-3 submarine. Commander Mochitsura Hashimoto is glued to the periscope. He is a predator. He has been hunting for days with no success. He is praying to the Shinto gods for a target. And then, a break in the clouds, a silhouette against the horizon, a massive American cruiser sailing in a straight line. Hashimoto cannot believe his eyes. It is a perfect kill shot. Torpedo tubes 1 through 6. Prepare to fire. July 30th, 12:14 a.m. The first torpedo hits the bow. It doesn't just hit, it annihilates. 40 feet of the ship's nose is blown clean off. The aviation fuel storage ignites. A pillar of white-hot fire shoots 1,000 feet into the night sky. The men sleeping on the forward deck don't even wake up. They are vaporized instantly, seconds later. The second torpedo. This is the death blow. It strikes midship, directly under the ammunition magazine and the fuel tanks. The explosion registers on seismographs miles away. It rips the ship's spine in half. The lights die, the engines stop, the communication systems are severed. Below decks, the Indianapolis becomes a slaughterhouse. The water rushes in, not cold ocean water, but boiling water, superheated by the exploding engines. It mixes with burning oil. Men trapped in the lower compartments are boiled alive in seconds. Those who survive the blast are plunged into absolute darkness. Screams echo through the twisted metal corridors. "Fire! Fire! Help me, I'm stuck!" Stairs are gone, ladders are melted. It is a human stampede in the dark. Men climb over the bodies of their friends, clawing their way toward the only thing that matters: fresh air. On the bridge, Captain McVay is thrown across the room. He stumbles out into the smoke. He sees the bow is gone. He sees the ship listing sharply to the right. He knows it's over. "Abandon ship!" he screams. "Abandon ship!" But there is no PA system. The order has to be passed by mouth, man to man, scream to scream. The ship begins to roll. It is a dying giant. As it turns on its side, men slide off the deck like toys. They hit the railings, the propellers, the debris. They fall 50 feet into the black, oil-slicked water. And then, the final horror. The ship pauses. For a moment, the stern rises vertically into the air, standing straight up like a tombstone. It hangs there, silhouetted against the stars, while men in the water watch in disbelief. Then, with a groan of twisting steel that sounds like a dying animal, the USS Indianapolis slides under the waves. It took only 12 minutes. From a floating city to nothing. 12 minutes to erase a flagship of the U.S. Navy. Silence returns to the Pacific. But it is not empty. 900 men are floating in the dark. They are covered in fuel oil. They are burnt. They are bleeding. They are terrified. But they are alive, and they think the worst is over. They think rescue will come in the morning. They have no idea that the gates of hell have just opened beneath their feet. Sunrise, Day 1, July 30th. The sun rises over a sea of black slime. The survivors are coated in heavy bunker oil. It gets into their eyes, blinding them. It gets into their noses, choking them. It coats their stomachs, making them vomit violently. They drift in scattered groups. Some groups have 300 men, some have 5. They have no lifeboats, just a few cork life rafts and their kapok life jackets. Discipline is strong. Officers bark orders. "Stay together! Check for wounded!" Dr. Lewis Haynes, the ship's chief medical officer, begins his impossible work. He swims from man to man. He has no morphine, no bandages, no fresh water. He uses the strings of life jackets to tie the wounded together, creating a floating hospital of the damned. But the blood from the wounded is leaking into the water. A scent trail, drifting for miles in the current. Deep below, the sensors pick it up. The oceanic white-tip shark. The most aggressive predator in the ocean. They are not like great whites that attack and leave. White-tips are scavengers. They are persistent. They are fearless. The first fin cuts the surface around noon, then another, then 10, then 100. The men watch in frozen horror. The fins circle the groups closer and closer. At first, the sharks are curious. They bump the men with their snouts, testing, probing. Is this food? Is this dangerous? The sailors splash the water, kick their legs, scream. It works. The sharks retreat. But then comes the night. The sun drops. The water turns pitch black. You cannot see the fins anymore. You can only feel the displacement of the water. The screaming starts at 9 p.m. A piercing shriek from the edge of the group. Then a splash. Then silence. Then another scream from the left. Another from the right. The feeding frenzy begins. The sharks don't just bite. They tear. They drag men under, thrashing violently. The water around the survivors turns warm with fresh blood, which attracts more sharks. The men huddle back to back, pulling their legs up to their chests, forming tight shark defense circles. But if you drift away, you are dead. If you fall asleep, you are dead. Day 2. The sharks are still there, but now a new enemy arrives. An enemy worse than the teeth, the sun. The tropical sun beats down with hammer blows. Temperatures reach 100 degrees Fahrenheit. The reflection off the oil magnifies the heat. Lips crack and bleed. Tongues swell so big they block the throat. The thirst is agonizing. It is a physical torture that overrides all logic. By the afternoon, the madness sets in. One sailor looks at the water. To him, it doesn't look like salt water anymore. It looks like cool, refreshing iced tea. "I'll just take one sip," he whispers. Other men try to stop him. Don't do it, it's poison. But he drinks. He gulps it down. Saltwater poisoning is a horrific way to die. The salt dehydrates the brain cells. Within an hour, the sailor is raving. He starts screaming that he sees a grocery store under the water. "The galley is open," he shouts. "They have ice cream. Who wants ice cream?" He unbuckles his life vest and swims down into the black abyss. He never comes back. Mass hysteria spreads like a virus. Men start hallucinating together. "I see an island," one shouts. "I see the hotel. There are women there." A group of 20 men breaks away, swimming toward a mirage on the horizon. The sharks follow them. All 20 are eaten within the hour. Violence erupts. Paranoia takes over. In their delirium, men believe their friends are Japanese spies trying to kill them. Best friends, who served together for years, pull out knives and attack each other in the water. Dr. Haynes watches helplessly as his crew tears itself apart. He holds boys in his arms as they die, listening to them talk to mothers who are thousands of miles away. When they die, he has to untie their life jackets and let them sink. "I released 50 men today," he writes in his mind. Day 3. The survivors are rotting. Their skin is sloughing off in sheets from the mixture of oil and salt water. Their eyes are swollen shut. They are skeletons in life jackets. The sharks are still circling. They are patient. They know the men are dying. They bump against the living, waiting for them to stop kicking. Captain McVay drifts in a small raft, alone with his guilt. He watches the horizon. He prays for a plane. He wonders why the Navy hasn't come. He doesn't know the truth. The Navy has lost them. Due to a clerical error, the Indianapolis was marked as arrived. Nobody is looking for them. They are ghost sailors, dying in a ghost ocean. McVay looks at his revolver. He has 1 bullet left. He thinks about using it. It would be so easy. Just 1 click, and the thirst stops. The sharks stop. The screaming stops. But he puts the gun down. "I must tell their story," he whispers. "I must live to tell their mothers what happened." He doesn't know that living will be harder than dying. Day 4. August 2nd, 1945. Lieutenant Chuck Gwynn is flying a routine patrol in a Ventura bomber. He is bored. He looks down to fix a trailing antenna wire. It is an accident. A 1 in a million chance. He sees an oil slick. He thinks it's an enemy sub. He prepares to drop depth charges. But then he sees the dots. Hundreds of black dots bobbing in the swells. He flies lower, and then he sees the splashing. "My God," he whispers. "Those are men." The rescue is chaotic. A PBY Catalina seaplane lands in the ocean, defying orders, because the pilot can see the sharks attacking the men while they wait. He pulls 56 men onto the wings of his plane. They are tied there like cargo, sobbing, half dead, skin peeling off their bones. Out of 1,196 men, only 316 survive. 880 men are gone, eaten, drowned, buried at sea. Captain McVay is pulled onto a rescue ship. His face is a mask of grief. "Where are my men?" is his first question. When they tell him the number, he collapses. The war ends 2 weeks later. The mushroom cloud rises over Hiroshima, delivered by the very ship that now lies at the bottom of the sea. The survivors go home, but they do not return to parades. The Navy needs a scapegoat. The public is furious. How did we lose a major ship and not know for 4 days? The Navy cannot admit their incompetence. They cannot admit they ignored the distress signals. So, they point the finger at the captain. Charles McVay becomes the only captain in the history of the U.S. Navy to be court-martialed for losing his ship in combat. The trial is a circus, a media spectacle. They charge him with hazarding his ship by failing to zigzag. In a move that sickens the survivors, The Navy flies in Commander Hashimoto, the Japanese submarine captain who sank them, to testify against McVay. Imagine the scene. The man who killed their friends, standing in a U.S. courtroom testifying against their captain. But Hashimoto surprises them. He speaks the truth. "It would not have mattered," Hashimoto says through a translator. "I had the position, I had the angle. Zigzagging would not have saved him." It doesn't matter. The verdict is predetermined. Guilty. McVay is stripped of his seniority. His career is destroyed. But the real punishment is not the rank. It is the mail. For the next 20 years, the letters come, every single day. They come from the mothers of the boys who died in the water. "Why is my son dead and you are alive? You killed my boy. I hope you hear their screams every night." Every Christmas, the cards arrive. "Merry Christmas to the murderer of the Indianapolis." McVay reads every single one. He doesn't burn them. He doesn't throw them away. He keeps them in shoeboxes in his attic. He accepts their hatred as his penance. He attends the survivor reunions. He hugs the men who made it back. They tell him, "Captain, it wasn't your fault." They salute him. They love him. But it's not enough. The 316 voices of the living cannot drown out the 880 voices of the dead. November 6, 1968, Litchfield, Connecticut. It is a cold, gray afternoon. The wind strips the last leaves from the trees. Charles McVay is 70 years old now. He puts on his uniform. He shines his shoes. He walks out into his garden. It is his sanctuary, the only place where the ocean doesn't follow him. He holds a toy sailor in one hand, a gift from a survivor. In the other, his service revolver. He stands there for a long time. He doesn't see the trees. He sees the black water. He sees the oil. He sees the fins circling. He is tired. He has been swimming for 23 years. He just wants to stop kicking. He raises the gun to his temple. There is no note. The letters in the attic are his note. A single shot rings out across the garden. The birds scatter. Captain McVay falls, the last casualty of the USS Indianapolis. The sharks didn't kill him in 1945. The Japanese torpedoes didn't kill him. The silence killed him. The guilt killed him. The peace killed him. Decades later, a 12-year-old boy named Hunter Scott would do a school project that would reopen the file. The world would finally learn that McVay was innocent. President Clinton would sign his exoneration. The Navy would apologize. But apologies don't bring back the dead, and exoneration doesn't heal the soul. War creates heroes, yes, but it also creates ghosts. Some men come home with medals on their chests. Others come home with scars on their souls that simply never heal. Not all wounds bleed. Not all battles end when the treaty is signed. And sometimes the hardest war is the one you fight alone, in the silence of your own garden. This is Homecoming Scars.